Hello, welcome to Tonglen for Climate Change. Today we'll do a short practice working with, kind of touching, being present with many of the different aspects that are happening because of rising global temperatures. So we'll begin by taking our meditation posture. Just taking a couple breaths, letting yourself arrive here fully in this moment, letting go of whatever you were doing before. And take a moment to touch into bodhicitta, this aspiration to practice today for the benefit of all beings. And so now we'll move through several of the results that are happening around the globe due to the increasing atmospheric temperatures, and have some time for whatever feels close to our hearts, whatever feels important, whatever topics we know about. And so first, bringing to mind the melting glaciers, the rising sea levels. First, notice what happens in your own heart and mind as you think of this. And with Tonglen, we breathe in the difficulty, the suffering, being willing to touch it, to be present with it. We breathe it into the open space of our hearts where it dissolves. And then we breathe out and offer what's supportive, what's beneficial. And so breathe in your own suffering, whatever you're feeling, experiencing when you think of the melting glaciers, the rising sea levels. And then extend this out to others, to humans, to people who live near glaciers or near coastlines or on islands, to all of the animals, the oceans, who are affected by melting glaciers, the polar bears. And take a moment just to bring these different beings to mind. Imagine the ways they're affected by the melting glaciers, the rising sea levels. And then with the wish that they be free of that suffering, breathe it in. Breathe it in and imagine that you can actually relieve the suffering from each of these beings, and it dissolves in your own basic goodness, in the openness of your heart. And breathing out, imagine that you can actually breathe out everything that's beneficial, supportive, sending your own good fortune, positive merit. Maybe sending out abundant food or a safe place to live, welcoming place to be, whatever is supportive. A couple more breaths with this, breathing in the suffering, imagine it. You can actually relieve it by breathing it in. And breathing out what's supportive. And now turning attention to the fires that are happening around the world. There have been massive fires in Australia, on the west coast of the US and Canada, in Europe, So again, beginning by imagining all of the impacts, the fires of the smoke on the humans and all of the animals, plants. Just taking a moment to be present with it. And first touching what arises in you. And imagine that you can breathe in the suffering, the difficulty. And breathe out what's supportive. By working with our own minds and hearts first, we awaken to our own wisdom nature, and then we can be more of benefit to others. And so now turn the attention out to all the other beings who are impacted by these forest fires, by smoke. Imagine that you can actually breathe in their suffering, that they can actually be freed of it. You can breathe out what's supportive, offering them peace of mind, safe place to be, ease, causes and conditions for well-being, for happiness, for truly being free of their suffering. And next, turning to the massive storms that have been happening, huge amounts of flooding, increased hurricanes, cyclones, tornadoes. Homes and cars being flooded, buildings being destroyed, homes. How many animals are losing their lives in these experiences, these events? Again, first touching your own suffering, what arises in your own heart and mind as you think of these things. You realize are present with what's happening on the earth. Breathing in the suffering, imagining that you can actually be free of it, that it's actually relieved. And breathing out what's beneficial. And now turning to all the other beings, losing their homes, their work, their place to live, their communities, their food. Breathing in, imagining that you can actually relieve the suffering of all of these beings, that the suffering dissolves into your heart, this open space in your heart completely dissolves, dissolving any self-clinging that you have in yourself, any contraction. And breathing out, offering loving kindness, compassion. Breathing out what's beneficial, what's supportive for each and every one of these beings. Animals, humans, plants. Imagine them receiving it and actually experiencing that well-being, that peace, that safety, that ease. And now finally, we'll turn our attention to whatever aspect, whatever topic of global warming, of climate change feels concerning to you. Turn your attention to this. And first breathe in the suffering, the difficulty, the challenge, the contraction, the reaction that arises within yourself. And breathe out what's supportive. Imagine yourself actually receiving it. And then turning your attention outward to all of the beings who are impacted by these effects. Imagine that you can breathe in the suffering and they're actually free of it. And breathe out what's supportive, what's beneficial. Breathing out, sharing your own merit, your own good fortune. And doing a few breaths with this. And then finally letting go of the practice and just resting for a few moments with this experience of being alive. Maybe you can feel this experience of your own open heart, care, compassion, your own basic goodness. Just gently resting your attention on the movement of your breath, on this openness of your awareness. Letting whatever emotions, whatever energy is stirred up, letting it harmonize, integrate. Release, come to rest. And then dedicating our practice, sending out the merit, the benefit, all of that good juiciness, sending it out around the earth to wherever it is needed. May it nourish and support each and every being without exception, helping them to all awaken, to be free of suffering, and to know true happiness. Thank you for your practice.